The Bulls have a chance to get rid of Billy Donovan and instead double down on the commitment. Could an extension become? We'll talk a little bit about that. Plus the Magic's potential offer for Coby White, and more teams are in on a Lonzo Ball trade. We're going to talk about it all and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat, the designer, host, and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Hayes, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Pat, Bulls. The New York Knicks, who at this point, bro, are just like, they're just sliding in the DMs of every coach and just getting turned down. There's Zion Williamson. They're in everybody's DMs. Nobody's answering except Mariah Mills. That's going to end up hiring as the head coach. But, you know, it's unfortunate. They've started off this search, and the only thing they've done is try to go after head coaches that are already locked into their positions with several years left on their contracts. Billy Donovan being the fifth coach they've reached out on. The Bulls immediately turned that down. There's another aspect of this, which we'll talk about here in a second, but how do you feel about the Bulls adamantly, quickly turning down the New York Knicks in request to interview Billy Donovan?
We've said Billy ain't going nowhere for a while now. Like, I'm not surprised by it. They like what Billy did. I think the second half of last season really gave them a lot of confidence in Billy Donovan heading into next year. And listen, for what it's worth, I keep saying this, right? Like, Billy Donovan got a lot of non-playing players playing defense, or not defense playing players playing defense.
Well, I'll give that credit to Wes Unseld, but still, it's the coach.
Even so, look, Billy Donovan got to hire him. Yeah. I mean, like, it's like, so it's very. I'm not sitting here telling you that there's no world where I want to see the Bulls move on from Billy Donovan. I think there's probably more worlds than not that I want to see the Bulls move on from Billy Donovan. But it is weird that the New York Knicks are just literally coming through like, hey, so Chicago, you up?
I mean, at this point, they might just send a request to all other 29 teams and just say, hey, can we interview your coach? No? Okay, bet. All right, bet. So now we can actually start. This is all weird because the coach that seems like it'd be the perfect mate for their situation, and Mike Malone, is right there. And it's like they do not want Mike Malone at all. It's like the opposite of the who's our boy Monty Williams thing with Detroit, how they just kept going back to Detroit. And it's the flip side of that. The team just keeps, who wants to coach? Anybody. Mike's sitting there like, anybody else want to coach the New York Knicks? Does anybody want the job?
I think what's interesting about it too, though, is that you see the teams that they're going to, and it's teams that in theory would probably want some draft capital. You'd have to trade, or you're not going to fire Billy Donovan, so you'd have to trade Billy Donovan. You'd want some pieces back and stuff like that. So they're going to teams that they feel want assets, but none of these teams seem very willing to move off of the coach. Although I thought the Dallas one was interesting because there was a report where it was like Jason Kidd wants to coach the Knicks, but also Dallas was like, we're not giving you Jason Kidd. So exactly. I always wonder how stuff like that is going to work out, because like that situation is almost like, well, if he wants to coach the Knicks,
let him coach the Knicks. Like, why are you holding on to somebody who doesn't want to be there?
Going to leave anyway.
Yeah, and especially like it came out too that like he didn't like having to be the mouthpiece after the Luka trade. He felt like they left him out to dry, which are all valid feelings to have after how that whole thing shook out. But yeah, it seems like Jason Kidd wanted to get out of there, and instead the Mavericks are like, "Hey, no, we got that contract. Remember you signed that, my boy? You signed to death row. Next thing you know, they're pulling out baby oil. Now you're in Diddy party. So you know you never know what may happen."
Williamson and porn star.
I don't know. Nico Harrison looks like the type to go to a Diddy party, so I'm not too surprised. If
Nico definitely looked like he's got a 6-month supply of baby oil in his closet. You know what I mean? Just keeps it at the Mavs facility.
Bro, still one of the greatest things is the fact that in a legal court document, it's listed as freak off supplies. Like, could you imagine the legal aid that had to type that up? And like, hey, I went to law school for 4 years. Last thing I thought is that I'd be typing off freak off supplies in a legal document. But with that said, Cody Westerland, after Casey Johnson reported that the Chicago Bulls turned down the Knicks' request to interview Billy Donovan, mentioned that around the draft combine, many around the league expect Billy Donovan to sign a contract extension with the Chicago Bulls this summer. Now, Pat, me and you, we've come to the realization. We both have our feelings on Billy Donovan as a head coach, but we do realize Billy's probably going to be here for a while. Like, I don't think they're not going to move off Billy until, I would say, the Bulls probably going to have to go on several playoff runs. And it's like, we're just not giving over the hump. We're finally going to move on from Billy unless Billy decides to leave. But so it wasn't too much of a shock to me. But how you feel about that, Pat?
Yeah, listen, I mean, it's probably signed already. Like, remember last time we found about Billy Donovan's extension like a year?
We're at the end of the extension. They never announced the extension.
Bro, we found out Billy Donovan was extended when we were like, hey, I think it's time for Billy Donovan to sign a new contract. Ain't it? They were like,
Billy's still here.
He's still here, bro.
That's what's gonna happen. That's how it's gonna happen this time too. His contract ends at the end of this year. The only reason we even found out how long his contract was, remember, is because last summer with the Kentucky thing. That's the only reason we ever found out. He was 2 years into the extension, and we just found out when it ended last summer. Like,
bro, I'm telling you, I've never seen. Now, I will say this. Like, I guess I don't know every coach in the NBA's contract. I don't know the terms on Jason Kidd's contract. Right. I couldn't tell you how long it is.
2 years left on the contract.
But like, it is weird that they don't announce that they like. It's like they're ashamed that we're keeping Billy, but like you won't let anybody talk to him. But you're not confident enough in Billy Donovan to be like, hey, we locked him down 3 more years. He ain't going nowhere. Like,
bro, it's weird. It's really weird, bro. Like, this whole Billy Donovan contract saga, like when you really just break it down, it is weird because while some teams don't announce the details of contracts, and I'm not expecting to know every dollar that Billy Donovan's getting signed, they at least announce, yeah, we've locked in Billy Donovan to a X amount of year contract. The Bulls never, the only way we ever found out was Casey Johnson, and then we just found out because of Casey Johnson again, because of the Kentucky thing, how long the contract even was. And so I don't know what it is, what the embarrassment is. At this point, we expect you to keep Billy Donovan. So I would hope that if it's an extension that gets done, they just say, hey, we locked in Billy for 3 more years. We feel confident in what he did at the end of last season. We want to see what he's going to do with this core for another 3, something. But like you said, the most common thing that's probably going to happen is Billy's going to show up next year to coach, and we're just going to be like, oh, I guess he got extended.
Yeah, I'm not worried about I think at this point, you should just expect that Billy Donovan is going to be here until the day. And I've told you what I think they're trying to do. I think there's a succession plan here. And I don't know if it's going to be BDJ, but it seems like that is probably the most likely path of the next Chicago Bulls head coach. But there seems to be a succession plan here where the expectation was that Mark Eversley was going to be gone by this point. I feel like Billy Donovan then moves into the front office, and I guess one of the guys on the coaching staff or Billy Donovan Jr. end up taking over as the next head coach of the Chicago Bulls. I think that is kind of the route that they want to go here, just because at this point, Billy Donovan is the 3rd longest tenured head coach in the NBA. Yeah. And I get it. Like, I think the NBA has way too quick of a hook with some of these coaches, especially with what Phoenix has done. What do they have? 4 coaches in 5 years? Like, that's not a good way to do business, but it is insane that over that span of time, Billy Donovan has not had a 500 season yet, or I guess since that point, since that first year.
That was the second year. Remember his first year? Yeah, it was before was while we made the Vooch trade. That was below 500 season 2. So yeah,
like his record here is not good. I don't know what is his total record here, but
he's about a 46 win percentage.
Jesus Christ, yeah, and he still has his job. Like that's some. Hey, when I said AK was trying to build teams out like it's 2005, I didn't think like that. Like that is some 2005 stuff.
And the whole time, the person who's gonna come in after Billy Donovan is gonna be Jim Boylan, which is gonna go back.
You son of a!
yeah. That would be the only thing. That would be a legitimate crash out. Like I've flipped out before, and we call it crash outs. If Jim Boylan ever gets back hired as the head coach of the Chicago Bulls, that is when you will 100% legitimately see a full and utter crash out by Hayes on Locked On Bulls. I may get fired afterwards.
I don't think we got to worry about that though. AK
I don't
did
know.
fire
No,
him immediately.
I just said, yeah.
AK walked in the door and was like, "Oh yeah, you want me to hear him out? Okay, speak. I heard him. Get out."
But we're gonna
all Jim Boylan said was the time clock. Get your.
We're going to keep it going, man. We're going to keep talking about the Magic's potential offer for Coby White as they've made it kind of clear on what they're willing to trade for a scorer. Does that align with what the Bulls could want for Coby White? We're going to talk a little bit about that, but first we got to get into a message from Game Time. There's nothing like making...
It was coming.
There's nothing like the NBA playoffs, the intensity, the buzzer beaters, the fans losing their minds is the kind of atmosphere you must experience live. And this year's matchups are already delivering. If you want in, Game Time makes it fast and easy to get seats, even for the biggest playoff games. Prices on the app actually drop close to the tip-off, and with killer last-minute deals, panoramic seat views, and no surprise fees, Game Time is a total game changer. I love that you can see your exact view from your seats. You don't get any surprises at all. And the app makes it ridiculously simple. 2 taps and you're done. And with the Game Time guarantee, you know what you're getting. You know that you're getting the best deal. If you find a better price in the same row and section, they'll credit you 110% of the difference. The NFL schedule just dropped, and you better believe I'm already looking at my fall calendar and picking games to hit. The Game Time makes scoring NFL tickets just as easy. You'll find great seats for as low as $100 thanks to exclusive discounts. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Game Time. See you guys on the next one.
See you guys on the next.
I have no idea why that one came out, to be honest with you.
See you guys.
See you guys on the next segment. There you go. We're gonna clean that one up. I have no idea why that one came out. I'm not even gonna. I have no idea, bro. Nonetheless,
like you had a stroke halfway through. It's like,
it wasn't halfway, bro. That was 3/4.
See you guys on the next one.
See you guys on the next one. Alzheimer's is a motherfucker. But with this said,
you can't say that. We on lockdown.
I'll bleep it on the podcast portion. It'll be all right. Nick, don't watch the YouTube. It's okay.
Are you okay? You're having a tough day right now. You okay?
I'm fine. Magic. So the Magic are potentially they're looking for a scorer, which Coby White is one of the players on their list, as long as with Darius Garland, Anthony Simons, and I think CJ McCollum as well. All the players that were rumored that they have an interest in adding to this team, and what they're looking to offer is Jonathan Isaac, Cole Anthony, and their 16th overall pick. I've read some things back and forth on if 25 or 26 is available too, but it seems like that could be on the table. Pat, is that enough to get Coby?
Is there a better offer? That's really the conversation you got to have, or is it better to keep him at that point, right? Like that's really what it comes down to. I don't know if there's going to be a better offer on the table for Coby White. I don't know if anybody else is offering first round picks that high for Coby White. I mean, the Orlando pick is 16th.
16th. Yep.
16,
right
like
outside the lottery, basically.
That's a really high pick, and in this draft could be a really good player if AK doesn't F it up and not take Walker Kessler. Sorry, flashback. That's a really high pick for you to be able to get for a nice role player. You're getting a couple of assets back where you can either flip them or you can just kind of let the contracts expire out. I think Cole Anthony has a team option in there in the next year of his contract where you can kind of just be done with that and utilize that to create some cap space for the big plan of the summer of 26. I just, to me,
why'd you say that like Ric Flair cutting a promo? What was the
big plan of the summer of 26?
The big plan of the summer of 26. Woo! Yeah.
Just
Willin and Dylan.
I always end up shaking my head like that when it's like you got this big idea and it's like this is the dumbest idea I've ever heard, but you try to make it sound massive. It's like, oh, the summer of 26, we're gonna be great.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. You've seen the summer of 26, but anyway, I just think that like to me, like the if there is no better offer and you don't see a future with Coby White, take the best offer available. So if that is the best offer available, it's enough for me to get it done, because you're adding pieces to your team that could be future pieces. If you want to hold on to Coby White and this is your core, build with that. Just know that this core may not get much further than where you've been right now. And I mean, it's not going to get him fired, so it don't really matter. He can do whatever he wants. I was going to say that may be a job, but like, it's not going to get him fired.
I look at it this way. Like, first of all, like if they're looking to trade Coby, it comes down to the money. I think that's the thing. Like at this point, I don't think it's like necessarily a problem with Coby White as a player or anything. But I do think that it's that they don't want to commit to what it would take to get a backcourt of Josh Giddey and Coby White. They don't want to commit to the money that it'll take to sign both of those guys. And they may not want to commit to this particular type of players you have to have around those guys if that's your backcourt, which, okay, that's the case, cool. The question then becomes, like you said, is that the best that you can get for Coby? And are you better off holding on to him and letting him play and excel and then maybe up in the value, but then you run the risk of like him getting hurt or something? There's a lot of different variables in it. I get where Bulls fans come from, no matter what side they are on the argument as far as keeping Coby or trading Coby. It is what it is at this point. They're going to make their decision. And I look at this and say, this would clearly be, to me, a move that is built around whatever you're trying to do in 2026. Cole Anthony has basically 1-year contract. The second year is a team option. They can get out of that after next season. That puts I think $14 million back on the book, something like that.
All of these, not to cut you off, all of these guys are pretty much on. Kevin Huerter, 1 more year.
That puts
Zach
you a
Collins,
lot of guys. Yeah. So that puts you with a lot of, even more to the expiring contracts that we talked about if the Bulls want to make further moves. Jonathan Isaac, while a really good defender, we know that he doesn't really stay healthy. He played over 70 games for the first time last season, but he only played like 16, 17 minutes per game. So there's that. He's turned himself into a really good on-ball defender, which got to give him credit for. But to me, if you're bringing in Jonathan Isaac, I can see him playing next to Modest Buzelis, make no mistake about it. But does that then mean, is he prioritized over P. Will? Is that what you're doing there? I don't know, right?
I would give him all of P. Will's minutes. He's a better player than P. Will in those minutes.
Yeah, but can he stay healthy in those minutes?
Wait, he did it last year. I mean, what? P. Will was what? 18 minutes a game, 19 minutes a game last year?
P. Will still averaging over 20 minutes per game last year.
Jesus. Bring that way down. Play Jonathan Isaac whatever minutes he needs to stay healthy and throw him in there. But no, like I think you also have to take it
25 minutes per game last year.
Jesus Christ. What, in the second half of the season he was playing 25 minutes a game?
Let's take a look. I don't think it really changed. So post All-Star break, 22.
Okay. I can see Jonathan Isaac being, what did he play last year? No, Jonathan Isaac was like 15 minutes a game. So Jonathan Isaac, they were basically like, we got to trade you before we lose everything.
No, they were like, he has a number of minutes that he has before his knee blows up.
Yeah, for real.
Let's make sure that
he literally was 15.4 minutes a game last year.
That's crazy.
But I think here's my thing with the situation around Coby too. I see Shay's comment. Says you make it sound like Coby is Lonzo or something. Memphis was offering us a first-round pick for Lonzo, so I think we can get more for Coby. Listen, you can get what is offered.
Yeah,
that's it. We always sit here and we say, well, they offered this for him, so you can offer it. Just because they was stupid don't mean that everybody else.
Well, I think you also got to keep in mind, like the Lonzo pick, it wasn't, oh, we're offering you the 18th pick. It was, we're giving you a protected first-round pick, and it just ended up falling at 18.
Yeah.
Now that you're trading Coby, not only do teams know exactly where that pick is, but they also know what players are going to be around that pick, so there's a little bit more value around it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing that you have. It's not a one-for-one comparison on, well, we could have got the 18th pick for Lonzo. We need more for Coby White. It comes down to exactly the place you are when those deals are made. No, Magic aren't looking at the pick as a protected first-round pick. They're looking at it and saying, this could be Thomas Sorber. This could be Ace Newell. This could be Danny Wolf. Like that. That's how they're viewing it. So I think that it just carries a little bit more weight in that case.
Yeah, and I think the bottom line of all of this is, if you're even having this conversation, I don't know if they actually trade Coby. I think that there's more conversations about it now. But if you're even having this conversation right now, does this not speak to the fact that this front office and this coaching staff, because Billy Donovan, as entrenched as he is in this organization, he's signing off on everything here. If you're not trading Coby if you don't believe that Modest Buzelis is that guy.
I don't know. I don't know if that really has anything to do with it. It can. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but I can't. I'm not going to say for sure that has anything to do with it. It could just simply be, hey, if we sign Coby White, that's $70 million in the backcourt, and we being able to be sure in that backcourt. And it could just, that allocation, they could just say that we don't want to tie up that much money with whatever we can do other places. I don't know if that necessarily speaks to how they view Modest. It very well could. I'm just not going to take it as 100% that speaks to how they feel about Modest Buzelis.
We'll see, man. We'll see. But hey, we'll see what the Bulls end up doing here in the long run. I think the Coby White thing could be very interesting for this team because I mean that would be a drastic change. Would there'd be nobody left, right? Well, Io.
No. Io was drafted by this front office. Kobe's the last member of this team drafted by Garpax.
Yeah, there'd be no more Garpax players left. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe we're still under that curse. Although if we had gotten one more Garpax player,
who would have had Tyrese Halliburton?
There was just one more there. You son of a... Hey, man, we going to keep this thing moving along. I ain't going to say it because we got enough cuss words.
You only got one. I got to edit out one.
Oh, Hayes forgot where we was at for a moment. Hey, man, we gonna tell you guys all about Wayfair before we talk about teams calling about Lonzo Ball. Do it right after this.
Why did you do it there? That was awkward.
I was saying make the trade. Do it.
Do it. All right, go ahead. Sorry. Do it.
There's nothing like stepping into your own outdoor space and feeling like you've escaped to your own personal oasis. If you're waiting to update your patio this season, Wayfair has made it easy to turn into a space that feels like yours, comfortable, stylish, and ready for the summer. Wayfair has everything you need to level up your outdoor space. Conversation sets. What is a conversation set? I've never heard of that. Outdoor bars. Can you tell Pat don't have money? Fire pits, hot tubs, gazebos, and yes, even the perfect string lights to set the vibe. It's like your backyard feels like that resort that you're looking for without the resort price tag. What do you want to redesign in your home this summer? I mean, listen, I got a ton to get done around here. We're trying to put in a new patio set, trying to add in a little outdoor kitchen action maybe. And Wayfair can hook me up with all the things that I need for that. Delivery is free, fast, and totally hassle-free. Don't wait. Make your outdoor space your dream oasis today with Wayfair and enjoy it all summer long. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop a huge outdoor selection. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. More Locked On Bulls coming up next.
Totally easy and hassle-free. You talking about Mariah Mills there?
Zion Williamson.
Okay, see, it's simpatico. I love that. You knew exactly where I was going with the joke. Before we get up out of here, Pat, we got a couple of teams that have been reported being interested in Lonzo Ball. The Dallas Mavericks, the Los Angeles Lakers, and I can't remember who the third team was in that one. Why am I throwing a blank on that? Was it just those two? Could have sworn there was a third team. But anyway, as Pat finds the third team, again, teamwork. What do you think about?
I'm looking it up now.
The Dallas Mavericks, the Los Angeles Lakers, the mysterious third team that Pat's going to find being interested in Lonzo Ball.
Mavericks. Did you say Mavericks?
I think I said Mavericks. That's what I said. Mavericks and Lakers.
That's all I'm seeing.
Okay. All right. So it's just those two. All right, cool. It's not a third one.
Listen, do it. That was the do it. Do it. What are you waiting for? At least in this article that I see, I'm only seeing Dallas Mavericks and I'm seeing the Los Angeles Lakers. 70 games. I couldn't even get the amount of games out there. 70 games in 2 seasons. That's all you need to know. And if we're being real, Lonzo's always been an injury concern.
Yeah,
he's always been an injury concern. Charlotte Hornets were thrown in there as a top 3 team that could trade.
There you go.
Him. But it's not an actual. They're making
not
calls
an actual
one Lonzo Ball. Yeah,
I think with this, when it comes to Zoe, like as we said before, if you can get something back for Lonzo, he's not part of your future. I know that Lonzo has his huge fans. Every time we talk about Lonzo potentially leaving, Rap Godfather Reloaded, I almost going to remember that username because it's one of the most dumb usernames I've ever heard. He gets triggered. But it's at the end of the day, Lonzo is not part of the Bulls' future. If they felt he was part of the Bulls' future, guess what? It wouldn't have been a 1-year deal with the team option. Keep in mind, this front office, we didn't even know they knew how team options worked.
Bulls' future? He's barely a part of the Bulls' past. He's been here 5 years.
70 games in 5 years. Pat, how dare you say he's not a part of the Bulls' past? One of the biggest what ifs in Bulls history.
I will say that.
Yeah.
When you hear how DeMar DeRozan talks about Lonzo Ball, when you hear how Zach LaVine talks about Lonzo Ball, they're like, we knew it was over.
Yeah.
When Lonzo went down, we knew it was over. Unfortunately, AK did not.
Yeah.
And maybe still doesn't.
I understand going into that first season afterwards, because the doctors even thought like that he was going to come back. That very first season afterwards, where they looked at it and said, Io can fill in for now until Zoe comes back. And then by February, because you remember when the schedule release came out that year, and I said, he's on the February, he's coming back February, and then he never came back. Yeah. But then the years that you were still waiting after that point, you should have known that Lonzo wasn't going to come back. We all kind of knew that at that point. But woulda, coulda, shoulda. Like if these teams come, if anybody's offering you a pick that's likely going to convey and be a protected pick or whatever else it is, you take it. It just is what it is with Lonzo at this point in time. He still is productive when he's on the basketball court. Make no mistake about it. But we're going to this youth movement. And while Lonzo could provide mentorship and all that for the young guys, and to his credit, he embraced that role. If a team's offering you something substantial, you take that. I don't want to hear nothing about why would we help other teams be able to win a title? I don't care. We're so far away from winning a title. I don't care about that right now.
Yeah. It's one of those things to me too. Is like if Lonzo Ball goes out and helps you win a title, you sit there and you look at him like Alex Caruso. You just smile and enjoy the fact that he played long enough to get into an NBA Finals and compete for it. Although he may not win an NBA title. This Indiana Pacers teams. Let me show you something. Hey, bro, like,
yeah,
would this be the biggest upset in the NBA in like the last?
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to be. It's since the Heatles lost to the Mavericks. And I think it even has to be a bigger upset than that because they had Dirk. Dirk is an all-time great. No shot to Tyrese Halliburton. He's not Dirk. And the Thunder were beating team. They had a historical point differential, the largest point differential in NBA history.
Like this is nuts. I was sitting there watching it last night. I was like, hey, bro, I think they might be the better team. Like. And do you know the win percentage when Hallie takes more than 10 shots is like 86%?
I know when he scores 20 points and has 10 assists, they're like 23-1. So it's like and they don't lose at home. They've lost one home game in the playoffs so far.
Yeah.
Bro, I mean, hey, listen, the series still got a lot of games left to be played, but hey, listen, for those that counted the Pacers out, they're showing y'all, man.
This may be the This may be the great. This has a chance to be one of the greatest finals runs of all time.
Absolutely. When you think of the whole storyline of it, right? The way that the Pacers season started off, where they started off, I think it was like 12-15, something like that. And then for them to turn it around the way that they did, Tyrese Halliburton, the fact that he got voted the most overrated player by his peers, the choking moment in Madison Square Garden with Reggie Miller there doing the pointing when he saw. Halliburton said a game winner in every series so far. Like all the storylines that have happened in this is one of the best final runs we have ever seen. Got to win 2 more games though, Pat.
Got to win 2 more. Got to win 2 more. This could be it. I'm glad he got out of AI range though. I think that's the thing. Like I was like, you won game 1 that was fun. This is about to be an AI series. This ain't an AI series no more. This might be an all-time series right here. But
hey, Grandmama's, first of all, that's an amazing username. Grandmama's
Flight School is phenomenal.
It's amazing. But we didn't, because me and Pat talked about Rick Carlisle being the X factor in this series.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I wasn't a fan of Rick Carlisle. I thought he was like Billy and them for a long time because I was like, literally, Jason Kidd had to go to him when they were in Dallas and basically be like, "Hey, bro, just let me run the offense how I want to run it, and we'll be fine." And then they won a championship when he finally did it. So I was like, it took his players to get him there. Rick Carlisle was coaching his butt off.
Absolutely.
Rick Carlisle is up there with the Eric Spoelstras. He is up there with the Ty Lues. He is up there with the greats of the greats, bro. Like he's a dog. He's a dog. I got to give him all his props. I say all that to say Trey Lonzo. If you can get whatever you can.
Trey Lonzo, get him up out of here. Yeah, I mean,
trade him to the Pacers. I trade him to the Pacers.
Yeah, you know what? I would love to see, and I know it's not been one that's been rumored. I would absolutely love to see Lonzo go to the Minnesota Timberwolves.
They have so
personally.
many point guards there.
That they don't have no point guards that
And
can
they got
defend.
all different kind of
And
point guards, too.
Conley's probably out of there. I'm just saying I would love to see Lonzo Ball be able to help Ant get to where he needs to get to. They need to make other moves too, but I would love to see him in Minnesota with Ant.
That'd
Plus,
be interesting. I wouldn't be mad at it.
Can we make Lonzo or Dwayne Wade? Can we send him there to long-term recruit Anthony Edwards to eventually come to the Bulls? Is that what we can do?
Telling you, dog. Let Naz Reid walk. Let Naz Reid walk. I need that to happen. Hey, bro. Tony Bradley might win an NBA championship, bro.
All right, we're ending the show, bro. That's crazy, man. That's wild. Because you're right. And he did play some quality minutes for them in last series.
Quality minutes, bro.
That's crazy, bro. That's why when people say they'll never win an NBA championship, they can never, like, bro, Tony Bradley could very well win an NBA championship
Tony
as
Bradley
a
might win an
contributor.
NBA championship, bro.
Anyway, any last thoughts, Pat, before we get up out of here?
Nah, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer.
You guys can follow me at CEO Hayes. Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, Fubo TV. Thank you very much. Basically, anywhere you want us, you can get it. We'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Peace, y'all.
Peace. Does Fubo TV have like a Locked On Bulls Uncut?
Bro, what is wrong?